Hey guys, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. But let me just say I'm still on location shooting. I think we're on episode 3 and 4 of season 3 for Mr. Mercedes. It's a Stephen King show. But I can't talk about it any further than that. I signed an NDA, so no spoilers, no nothing. Don't even ask me questions in the comment section. But let's get right to it. I just got around to seeing BumbleBee. And I kind of kicked myself. I didn't go see it on the big screen because I kind of was burned out on all of the Transformer films. They just got so, I don't know, I just, after like the second one and then the third one, and then it just kind of, I was like, ugh, and I just wasn't into them. And so when Bumblebee came around, I was like, okay, they're doing a spin-off, that's okay. I'll wait. I'll just wait. And, the box office was kind of soft. It wasn't like a big, huge hit, but it did make some money. And so, I checked it out, and I liked it. I thought it was probably the best Transformers movie that they've made. And I think some of the reasons why are, they stayed very true to the actual Transformers this time. And a lot of the Transformers were in their Gen 1 phase, as far as like the trucks and the airplanes and all that kind of stuff. I liked what Michael Bay did and how he kind of pushed things and made Bumblebee a Camaro, and Optimus Prime wasn't a flatbed, flat-nosed truck, and I get what he did. Now, I really liked Shia LaBeouf in the first film as Witwicky. I loved that character. I thought he played it amazing. As the sequels went on, it was just too repetitious. I don't think they really broke ground with that character. And so the new Bumblebee brings, first of all, it takes place in like 1987, which is great because it was a good year. It was I'm a kid from the 80s. I remember going and seeing Jaws: The Revenge in the theater in 1987. I remember what everybody was wearing back then, and I have to say, Bumblebee had an amazing soundtrack. Every single song was perfect. Sometimes it was too perfect, like they just were killing it with, they had Duran Duran. You name it, the Smiths, you name it, they were in it. And I thought it was really good. I thought they captured the outfits proper, the cars proper, just how everybody wore their hair. I thought they did a really good job recreating the 80s. So the soundtrack, right off the bat, was just on point. I think what I liked most about Bumblebee was this film felt like it had heart. Where I loved, what Shia did with the film, but what Hailee Steinfeld did with this, she really gave, this whole movie had heart, whether it was Bumblebee's bonding with Hailee's character, and just so much love seemed to have gone into this film, especially, like I said, with the Gen 1 versions of the characters. And it was one of those movies where I felt like they took the writer of this movie, Christina Hodson, also is writing the new Birds of Prey for DC's Expanded Universe. And she's done a lot of very strong female-centered films. And you can tell that the writing was really geared towards, and she was obviously, probably like me, she's probably around my age, a child of the 80s too, and so, she was writing, from her heart, and that's what I think this movie had, was a lot of heart. But it felt a lot like a lot of the story for this movie was borrowed from E.T. A lot like, and I know that movies seem to always tread over the same kind of themes, but, it's like with what Stranger Things does, they take all the good parts of the 1980s and they just play on this nostalgia. And I feel like there was this bonding of Hailee's character with Bumblebee, like Henry Thomas did with E.T., and stopping the bad scientist people to try to destroy this alien being and all this kind of stuff, and he needed to send a message to his friends to get his friends to come, and so I just felt like there was a lot of E.T. influence in the film, which is not a bad thing, but at the same time, if you're gonna steal from anything Hollywood-wise, steal from the best, you might as well steal from Spielberg. John Cena was in the film, the wrestler. He's done quite a few movies that I've seen him in. I like when he does comedy. This movie, I felt, okay, his character really didn't amount to much for me until the end when he actually, like, saluted Bumblebee, and I thought that was a good moment. But you know, it was just he just felt like it's a filler human type character to go into the movie. The director, Travis Knight, I could see he loves animation. I mean, he does a lot of animated movies, mostly stop motion. So this feels like, and I think it's his big directorial debut. So, you know, he did a fantastic job with this movie. And I really feel like he probably grew up playing with Transformers as well and put his heart and soul into this movie. I keep going back to this heart. This movie really had a touching heart to it. Jorge, let's see, Lendenberg Jr., he played kind of like the love interest, but they always kind of went there but never went there. They almost kissed or kissed on the cheek, and that didn't count, and almost held hands, and that didn't count. But I'll be honest with you, I feel like he was totally filler. And not to take anything away from the actor, but I feel like his part really didn't amount to anything. And if you had taken him out of the film, you really wouldn't have missed him. Pamela Adlon was in the movie, and she is an icon of the 80s. And so it was really cool that they threw her in this movie. I haven't seen her do anything since Californication. And I know she's out there and she's working. I just, I'm busy too, so I don't see a lot of the programming that's going on out there. I liked Jason Drucker, who played Otis, the little brother. He was really good. His character was a lot of fun. And I'm still trying to figure out how they did the scene in the back seat where he threw up, because, and I think it might have been CGI, because, he was in the middle of a sentence and then threw up all over the place. And I thought to myself, normally actors will fill their mouth up with corn chowder or something like that, and they'll do the scene like that, but he literally was in mid-sentence and then threw up. And so I really feel like they did that with animation and CGI, and it was still a good scene. I enjoyed it. It's like the one thing that I felt was a little bit I could give or take too was the dynamic between Hailee's mother and father, the characters, the mother and father in the movie, the stepdad and the other one, because it felt like they were trying to capture lightning in a bottle twice with Witwicky's parents, which were just, they stole every scene that they were in the original Transformers that Michael Bay did, but this felt forced. It's like they were trying to scene steal or trying to say, look, these are the parents, and they're goofy, and they're awkward, and they don't know what's going on. And a lot like, hey, Witwicky's parents. But for me, it didn't. So, the whole movie in general felt like a soft reboot, and it kind of was. But it's weird because it kind of tied into, at the end of the movie, where Bumblebee turns himself into the Camaro that was in the first film. But of course, there's the flat-nosed semi, which is Optimus Prime. And if you go along with the timeline, down the road when Witwicky is with all of the Transformers, Bumblebee sends a signal and brings them to Earth, but now they're already on Earth, or Optimus Prime is so it's like they've gone where they've done a soft reboot, but at the same time they're stealing elements from Michael Bay, so I really don't know where it's going. We're just gonna have to see how it plays out. I did like the triple Transformers. I thought they were really awesome, those two characters, to go from the cars to the plane and the helicopter, and then to the robot form. Those characters were great, but why do they keep killing Starscream in every movie? They kill him in every movie. Starscream was my favorite Transformer. He was the one I had when I was a kid. That I loved him. I loved him in the cartoon. I loved it. Why did they kill him off right off the bat? I don't understand. I don't get it. Why the hate for Starscream? But anyway, I enjoyed the movie. I probably, in hindsight, I wished I'd have seen this on the big screen because there was a lot going on and it was beautifully shot and beautifully animated and the action sequences were great. The fights were awesome. And just everything, the movie as a whole, I give it an A. Not an A plus or an A minus or anything. I give it a solid A. Bumblebee was a good movie, and that's it. So, did you guys like Bumblebee? I saw a lot of reviews of everyone else's when Bumblebee first came out, and I still kind of waited for it, but here I am now. I've watched Bumblebee. I like it. I give it an A. I can't wait to see where they go next with the franchise. So that's it. Let's talk about it in the comments section. Tell me what you liked about Bumblebee, and we'll see you on the next one.